Hello, I am Aditya Kumar. Welcome to a very interesting session today, which is related to statistics. So it is I can say the simpler overview of statistics. I want to just give a story, so which is related to how statistics and probability is working together behind, and we will not go into any deeper mathematical terms related to statistics and probability, but definitely we will use some terms related to the same, but still I will keep it more abstract, so that at the first level in the first video, so you will get a brief understanding about statistics and probability and how they are working together, and how we can implement it in a different area for specific to data analysis or any specific domain. So let's start for today. So statistics is a area of mathematics and specific to applied mathematics, and it is used to understanding the language of data, I can say. For example, if some data is with us in a tabular format or maybe in a record in Excel format, but we were not using that because that particular static data is not telling us anything, right? It's not giving us any information. But if you are using some statistical technique and extracting some insights from this data, then definitely we can take decision for future, right? So with reference to the previous data, we will have a better confidence for the future decision. That's why especially statistics is dedicated for the data analytics field. That's why it is known as, it understands the language of data. So before going to our story, so I want to highlight some basic concepts, or maybe I can say some high level terms which is related to statistics. So first concept here is, I can say this is basically the random variable. Random variable, why we are telling here, because each and every concept, I can say each and every event in the real world, we can consider this is a random variable. I can say randomly actually we are extracting some data. For example, we are tossing a coin, right? We are basically rolling a dice. So again, this is a randomly we are doing. We will get a response basically randomly. That's why randomness is a factor in the statistics, and the area basically the tool or maybe the framework is using within the statistics to handle this particular thing is again the popular friend of the statistics is known as probability. So probability is basically used with statistics in different scenarios to interpret the data, or basically the handling the, or maybe finding the insights from the data and looking the future about that from this particular data. So that's why random, if you are talking about random, means the probability is a term actually coming into the picture. Definitely we will basically look into that in depth. And the second point over here is probability theory and distribution. This is basically the two term, probability theory and probability distribution, and again this is the field of probability. And population and sample is our third term. So there are two terms here. One is basically our population and sample. I will basically explain that. And parameters and statistic, this is not statistics, this is statistic. There are difference between statistics and statistic. And our fifth term here is descriptive and inferential statistics. There are two major areas of type, I can say subfields of the statistics according to their way of interpretation, way of analysis within the statistics. And the last term here is the parametric and non-parametric methods. These are the certain methods actually within our statistical computation or analysis we are using. So there is a certain characteristics or certain things actually we are checking. If it is not there, then it is parametric, and it is there, it is parametric. Then if it is not there, this is non-parametric. There is a certain condition, based on that we are identifying. Let's move into our section wise part of the, I can say the part wise the story. Then finally we will have a combined graphical interpretation of the points whatever we are discussing. The first point I want to highlight here, probability as a foundation. We know probability is a field of mathematics which is specially dedicated for randomness. I can say this is a framework, complete framework for mathematics, which mathematics provided us a framework which is specially designed for study of randomness and uncertainty. I am giving an example. What is the probability? I can say tomorrow there will be a rain, right? So again, there is a we are only thinking like that, it might be rain, or there might be some rain, there might be heavy rain, but we are not calculating in terms, we are not quantifying that, right? Then probability is a tool here so that we can quantify this. What is the chances there will be rain tomorrow? This is an example. And the second part of our story is sampling and probability. Sampling is a term, and probability, we know this is a framework of mathematics. Sampling is a process. Sampling is a process to pick the sample from our entire population. And again, this is the two terms we highlighted at starting, population and sample. Sample means some part of the data we are picking from entire data. I am giving an example. If you are going to medical for some test, the laboratory assistant, so they are taking some sample of blood from us, they are not taking entire blood, right? That's why our entire blood is the population, and whatever the sample they are taking, they are sample. The way they are extracting the sample from our body, this is known as the sampling technique. There might be multiple technique, because according to the disease, right? So there might be some technique, they might be need some more blood, they might need some little bit of blood. So it's depend basically scenario to scenario how they are doing the sampling. Again, in the statistics also, sampling is a very major area, and also it is basically categorized into a vast category. We will definitely have a playlist for that sampling. So what should be the ideal sampling in which scenario? But here I wanted to highlight, during our sampling, whenever we are doing the sampling from the population, probability plays a major role there. That's why probability and sampling actually combined, I put a point together. And our next point here is probability distribution. Probability distribution is nothing but a tool under the probability framework, under the probability theory. Probability theory is the framework which mathematics provided us. Probability distribution is a tool under that probability theory, so that we can use probability distribution for our interpretation in statistics, to interpret the different techniques of statistics. And I can say the last part here is statistics as an application of probability. Then first term, we are basically sampling the data using probability. Then we are interpreting whatever the sample we are gathering using probability theory or probability distribution or some sampling, our statistical technique. Then finally, statistics is used as a application of a probability. That means whenever from this sample we are inferencing the population, we are finding the how the population is exactly how much similar to the sample. Then again, probability plays a very vital role there. I am taking an example, the same blood example. The sample the lab assistant collected, that they tested, there is some disease, actually some viral actually there within the blood. Then directly actually they are saying in the prescription, this is the disease actually you are having, that's why you are having some fever or like that, like these symptoms, right? Because they are ensuring that whatever the sample they collected, the same sample basically tells them that the entire blood in the body contains this bacteria or this viral, right? So this is how they are testing this sample, and they are basically confirming that this is how your entire body is basically infected by this viral. So that's why whenever we are basically representing the entire population from our sample, then probability is basically the probabilistic technique, different techniques are there to inferencing the entire population from our sample. So let's give a pictorial representation of this whatever the point actually we discussed. I am first just here, for example, this is my population, this is my entire population. I am doing a sample, this is my sampling technique, this is my small data which is known as sample, right? Then within the sample I am doing multiple interpretation here. I am using descriptive statistics. I am using descriptive statistics. There is a point there, descriptive statistics in our first key points. Descriptive statistics using probability distribution. Here probability distribution is used as a tool in descriptive statistics to interpret our sample data. Like the same way the laboratorians did their testing with our sample. These are the technique. Again, this technique actually varies cases to cases, right? So what type of sample we need. So like the same, like what type of viral actually they are going to test. They cannot test everything in a single sample, right? So according to the doctor recommendation, they will do that a particular testing. That's why according to our scenario, we will do our descriptive statistics. We will do our descriptive statistics using appropriate probability distribution. If you am talking about appropriate probability distribution, means there are lots of possibilities here, right? So there are multiple possibilities here. What will be the ideal scenario or ideal probability distribution for our data and for our expectation? According to that, we will select our probability distribution. That's why the entire picture, entire section here is the descriptive statistics I will consider. Then from the descriptive statistics, we are inferencing this population. This is inferencing. Here I am using probability or some different without probability technique also they are, but probability is a in one type of some special type of sampling, and also this is very ideal in the practical scenario. Probabilistic technique is basically a good fit in some certain scenario. That's why explicitly I mentioned here probability is used for sampling technique, but there is some other techniques definitely we will cover in our upcoming sections. Without probability also there are some sampling technique. But here again for inferencing also you are using here probability and we are using here probability, and inferencing also for estimating the population or population characteristics we are using probability here. That's why statistics is a application of a probability, I can say. So within statistics in the backbone we are using probability. So let's summarize here. So entire population data is here contained in the population. We are doing sampling to get the sample data. So here we are basically this entire thing entire population, randomness population, whatever the data is present here, I can say this is a random variable. Whatever point we had in our first key points, random variable, the random experiment here. So we are doing a sample technique. We got the sample and we are doing appropriate statistical analysis here, descriptive statistics using appropriate probability distribution. Then again from this particular our descriptive statistics we are implementing certain algorithm or certain techniques here to inferencing the population parameter or population parameter I am talking means certain characteristics of population. For example, here it's the parameter depends upon basically the characteristics of whatever the probability distribution we are using. So I am not explicitly mentioning any probability distribution now. I am keeping it very generic now because it depends upon I can say probability parameter basically specific to probability distribution, which type of distribution we are using, and there is a respective parameter for this particular distribution. That's why whatever the sample technique we are using for sample, whatever the probability distribution we are using for sampling analysis, According to that, the same characteristics of this particular distribution we will estimate for population, and we will check how much similar it is, how correctly we did the sampling. Again, it is basically interrelated. This is our first point, collecting the samplation. This is our second point, our descriptive statistics. This is our inferential statistics. This is the third point. Again, the accuracy is basically depends upon is interrelated. If you are doing correctly in the first step, then definitely will get a good response in the second step. If you are doing it first and second step correctly, then the third step definitely will get a efficient one. So that's why there are complete picture of how statistics and probability internally working for basically into the data analytics, or maybe into any random experiment. So that was basically the overview of statistics I wanted to give at the starting level of the statistics course, so that in our upcoming videos we will dig dive into a respective area, for a specific area. For example, from the population, how we will get the sample, what are the multiple types of sample, then within the descriptive statistics what are the technique, and probability distribution, what are the types of probability distribution. Then again, inferential probability, where in the inferential statistics we are using the probability, how many ways we are doing the probability, and also the parametric and non-parametric technique, what are the how it is interrelated. It is completely depends upon the probability distribution. There is a certain type of probability distribution. If the data is following that, then it is a parametric, otherwise it is non-parametric, and there are different parametric and non-parametric techniques are there in the statistics. So according to our data, our sample, whatever the thing actually is in our hand, the data in our hand, we will take the appropriate action, we will implement the appropriate tool, or in the form of probability distribution or statistical technique, then we will inference the population in the effective way. If you will not put appropriate tool, maybe not use the appropriate tool and not implement the appropriate statistical technique, definitely our estimation for the population, or whatever the prediction I can say in the term of machine learning, here actually I am saying estimation of the population parameter, definitely it will be not correct. So thank you for watching this video. Please do subscribe my channel so that you will get notification always. And also I created a Telegram channel so that for our better coordination. In case you have any doubt related to any video, then you can put in that particular channel, so that I will answer that. Also you can put the any comment under this particular video, so that I can clarify there also. So again, thank you very much for watching.